chat. I see Jay Martinez. Welcome. Anybody there? Leave a thumbs up in the comments. Say something. I'm checking my other computer to see if everything's going correctly. There might be a little bit of a delay. Anybody there? Leave a comment. Leave a comment in the chat. I see Jay. There we go. Sorry. That's the other computer. So yes, there is a delay. Hi, welcome to the live stream. This is the first time I've done one for House of the Dragon, but I do want to do these at least every week. Well, we'll see if we can get it going from there. I don't know if you guys have checked out the live streams before, but we also do a watch party on every Sunday night for the Vampire Lestat, so check that out as well. Okay, so today's topic. Okay, I guess I might have a problem with disconnecting. Okay, there we go. Sorry, my OBS delayed for a second. Let's see if you guys get that. Okay, it's going to be Rhaena and Sheepstealer, and then the Greens. Who is the greater threat? So we're looking at Aemond and Ormond. So I think this is really good. A really good discussion. If you have not seen the episodes 1 to 3, there will be spoilers. So I'm going to show very edited clips so that you have a little bit of context, and you'll see words and phrases that'll pop up for you to prompt to add to the discussion. And again, that's what makes this an interactive community, is to hear what your opinions are. So please feel free to comment, and yeah, I want to hear what you have to say. So that being said, again, no bullying. Try not to spoil. This is a spoiler review. There will be stuff if you missed the episode, or if you don't have HBO, you'll get a glimpse of what's going on. But okay, so welcome and thanks for joining me on a Saturday night, guys. Okay, so here we go. First topic, Rhaena and Sheepstealer. Ooh, okay, here we are. Anybody there? Thumbs up if you can hear. Hi, Cardinal Standard. Great to see you. I have some strong opinions about this, but I want to hear what the community has to say. By the way, I sped this up. She's actually approaching Sheepstealer slower than this.
The cutie. The cutie.
Probably would have gotten Rhaena, but she's hiding behind a rock right now. This is after she rid him. I don't understand that logic. There's your summer barbecue right there, guys. How do you feel about this depiction of Sheepstealer? In the books, it's Nettles who has to claim Sheepstealer by feeding Sheepstealer, sheep a little bit at a time. Apparently now, Sheepstealer feeds Rhaena. Of the Battle of the Gullet. vaguely understand commands in Valerian. Okay, pay attention here. Bela turns around. So does she see who's the rider? I don't know. No! Sheepstealer, no!
That's my sister.
Hold on, Bela! Keep your senaz, Rhaena! No, Rhaena!
That's the only confirmed person that saw Rhaena claiming Sheepstealer. I'm sorry, I don't think she can ride a dragon without a saddle. Nobody else does. I slowed this down, so look. Yeah, I think so too. And because Jacaerys was looking back at Sheepstealer, he flew too close and too low to a boat. And that's how Vermax got hit.
Help me. My lady, I have done a terrible thing.
Why have you come here?
There was a battle.
The Prince Jacaerys, it seems, is dead. You need to go now.
Oh, there was ships and smoke. I wanted only to help. Truly, but Sheepstealer was frightened.
I don't care. You were supposed to be on a ship to
I wouldn't either.
Pentecost.
Oh, I need asylum. My lady, I had nowhere else
How
to go.
dare you? Asylum. You run from my charge and you bring disaster to my doorstep. The Queen will be hunting you.
None saw that it was me.
I would say you had lost all sense, but that I doubt you had any in the first place. Don't come back here.
Do you want a dragon or not? You said yourself you were deceived in your dealings with the Queen, taken for a fool. You wanted protection. I offer it now. Vhagar is at large.
Sheepstealer and
Sheepstealer has
Rhaena
long
versus
made his own
Vhagar
ship.
and Aemon.
All we need from you is blindness.
The Vale is vast. I cannot stop a dragon from abiding where it pleases. I do not wish to see you again.
There was another dragon, Sheepstealer, Bela says.
A wild dragon.
He had a rider.
It's impossible. A wild dragon cannot ever be tamed.
They attacked Moondancer and drew Jace to his death.
How can the Greens have claimed another?
I want you to find them.
It will be done.
Okay, so based on that, here's some talking points. Sheepstealer is a thug, but they make her look like a scared puppy here. I agree. I feel like the depiction of Sheepstealer, the rewrite from the show, this is supposed to be like a formidable dragon. In the novel, Sheepstealer is a part of the Red Sowing. They bring many dragon seeds to Sheepstealer, and he burns everybody, like more than Vermithor and everything that we saw in episode 2. And now this little timid Rhaena of all people seems to very easily get claimed by or be able to claim Sheepstealer. So let's look at the talking points here. Talking points number 1, and please add your comments. So first one, believable. Can Rhaena really tame this formidable dragon? I mean, what's your impression of that? You think that's possible? I understand they rewrote Nettles out of this, but did they give Rhaena any of the characteristics that would make her, I guess, assertive enough to be able to claim a dragon like Sheepstealer? Or did they just change the characteristics of the dragon? No, I agree. Does anybody else have anything to say? I don't see anybody really in the chat. In the book, Nettles is like 16, 17, so she's about Rhaena's age, but just the, I mean, kind of like the grit of each of these two characters. Rhaena's depicted as very timid, I mean, it seems like it's her dream to have a dragon, and that's all she's focused on, but she doesn't have that authority. And then, of course, since, right now, as of, an egg hasn't hatched, so she's not going to the dragon pit, and she's not training, she's not learning the commands, she's not learning, anything that would need to be successful to be able to ride a dragon. So, yes, we're going to get to that. I believe that, too. She just gave up on watching Rhaenyra's kids. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's an age thing. I know I've seen a lot of comments. People are like, oh, she's very young. She's very young. So was Nettles. Nettles was the same age. But, in the book, Nettles, this dragon just blasted people. I mean, that's what Sheepstealer was. I mean, you didn't even want to approach Sheepstealer because he was that ferocious. Here, he doesn't seem all that, scared. Actually, it's kind of the opposite. He seems like he just is like a little stray dog. He wants to be domesticated, and I don't know. Yeah, I agree. Clifford Graff, I agree that I don't see her being able to control Sheepstealer, not the dragon that we know from the novel. Okay, so talking point 2: riding a dragon without a saddle or harness or whatever. I'm not sure what you call it on a dragon. I just don't buy it. If you look, and I went back and I saw, all seasons 1 and 2, every episode, every time they showed anybody getting on a dragon, and they were harnessed and saddled up. So Rhaena, who's never had any experience riding a dragon, she's been unable to claim a dragon. She's the one that basically can ride a dragon bareback. By the way, this is a wild dragon. It's never had a rider. So I feel like this dragon would be like bucking people off like crazy. But she can do it successfully and hold on, flying distances, deep diving, avoiding, fire, ships, other dragons. And, I don't know, like, does Sheepstealer like invert or something and she's just holding on with some death grip? Like, I just think that was completely overlooked by the writing. And, to me, that wasn't very convincing. I am a little biased. I do not like the idea of Rhaena claiming Sheepstealer. I feel like if the show writers decided not to bring Nettles in, then just leave Sheepstealer out of it. Sheepstealer doesn't need to go to the gullet. Sheepstealer can just run around in the Vale and be Sheepstealer. Rhaena doesn't need to claim a dragon. Just move on. Just, they've done that so many times in the previous seasons, just leaving things out of the storyline. I think this probably would have been better served that way. All right. Talking point 3. Sheepstealer feeds Rhaena, not vice versa. What do you guys think of that? I put my opinion in the comments. Anybody? No. She's like, yeah, she's kind of like the Urkel of House of the Dragon. Yeah, she hasn't come into her own yet. That's okay. But, you ruined Sheepstealer by allowing Rhaena to claim her. This just fearsome dragon just is, this little puppy dog. It takes months to claim or to tame Sheepstealer. And still, it's a very volatile dragon. We're going to watch some other clips later too, where like the general consensus is basically that wild dragons can't be tamed. Like that is like the norm in Westeros. So, is that true or not? Like this is what we know about dragons. This is what we know about this particular dragon. So, changing that, I'm not sure for these purposes, is worthwhile. And it's the fact that what does Rhaena do? She basically like creeps around and stalks this dragon through, the Vale. And he's like, oh, I'm so lonely. Like, I want you to pet me. I want you to like, here, let me regurgitate some sheep. Oh, let me barbecue it for you. And let's share a meal. Yay. Like, now we're friends. Like, that's how you bond with Sheepstealer. Like, no one would have tried that before. In all these years that Sheepstealer was running around, like, there wasn't somebody with some sort of, Valyrian blood or, Targaryen blood that would have been able to claim Sheepstealer. Nobody's ever tried that before. So I don't know that I like that. I don't know. I just don't like that choice. And then that goes into topic 4, the depiction of Sheepstealer. Anybody in the comments, thumbs up or thumbs down? What do you think? I'll put mine in, but I don't want to influence anybody. The origins, okay, the book is, there's unreliable narratives. So the thing with Sheepstealer is no one really knows his exact origin, exact age, but you're looking at still like, around, definitely older than Caraxes, Meles. You're looking at like Vermithor era, somewhere in there. Again, but this was, you don't have any data on this dragon. You just know that there's a dragon. He likes to steal sheep, hence his name. And he toasted anybody that approached him. So, and this is for, centuries. So that could be that, I'm sure there was somebody in the past that tried. And in the novel, again, in the Red Sowing, many dragon seeds. It wasn't just Rhaenyra bringing the dragon seeds, to Dragonstone, trying to claim Vermithor and Sea Smoke and Silverwing. They also tried to bring a bunch of people to the Vale for Sheepstealer. And they all got fried. Like, way more than any damage that Vermithor and anybody did, back on Dragonstone. Way more. So, apparently they just rewrote all that. So, again, I understand rewriting characters a little bit. I understand adaptations and there's some creative liberties, but I feel like changing the basic characteristics of the dragon itself was something that should have been trampled on. So, trying to see. That's my vote for the depiction of Sheepstealer in season 3 of House of the Dragon. And I kept seeing it through like season 2, and I'm like, no, they're not going to do that. It's just like a misdirect or something. Nope. So that's not the case. Okay. Moving on to talking point 5. How do dragons learn commands? Now, if anybody's like a book expert that, wants to, pose any theories, if you're not a part of the live stream and you rewatch this later, please add your thoughts in the comments. But, she's saying commands to Sheepstealer and High Valyrian. Does Sheepstealer understand? Like, what are those words? I don't know. Trying to make an analogy, dog training or anything like that. Like, you can tell an animal sit. What does that word mean to them? Like, do dragons intuitively know High Valyrian? I understand there's like a blood bond and there's definitely something kind of supernatural and spiritual between the dragon and the rider, that connection. But I don't think it's a, automatic language thing. That would be akin to any one of us going into a foreign country and just being able to be understood because we have a bond. Like, I'm not sure that flies. So, how do you think dragons learn commands? Any thoughts on that? Well, I didn't hear any responses, but my theory is that, I think that Rhaena might have, I never thought about that before. Good point. Does Sheepstealer understand any commands? Sheepstealer's never been trained. You look at, we saw in seasons 1 and 2, basically all of the dragon riders, they go into the dragon pit, they're being trained. There's this great scene with Lucerys and Arax, like baby Arax, and they're saying commands, and he's and they're like, when your dragon like obeys you, they won't even eat, like they will not, Dracarys, they will not even do that until you give the command. So this seems to be like a repetition thing with any of, the animals, and certainly a wild beast. So now we're just assuming, so let's give it that Rhaena can get on this dragon, and he allows that. Let's say that, she can hold on without any sort of harness or saddle and ride for dear life. And she's overheard, her relatives that, they do have dragons. So she knows the command, she knows the lingo, she knows the language. Like, why is she saying this? Why is she even bothering to a wild dragon who's never heard this before? Like, you can't go to a stray dog and say sit and have any, what does sit mean? What does lay down? What does no mean? I just feel like none of this was addressed. And the difference between the book is that there was an actual taming process. It wasn't like an instantaneous, let's go for a ride type thing. It took months. And this just seems to be like Rhaena tiptoeing around the veil and, hey, here's a dragon and he's lonely and, I have, Valerian and Targaryen blood, so we'll connect, let's go. And I'm not sure that flies. Okay. Talking point 6. Was Sheepstealer's rider seen by anyone? So this comes up in a couple of the episodes. So you hear, and we played it with the little clip that I showed earlier. So the only person that acknowledges, and who gets a clear shot of who is riding Sheepstealer is obviously Jaceris, who ends up passing away. And I cut that out because it's so hard for me to watch that scene. But he's like, that's Rhaena. In fact, he's like, Vermax, no. Like he, because his original command was kill the rider. Now, what I don't understand and what I pointed out as we were watching the clip was you can actually see Sheepstealer attacking Bela on Moondancer. Now, you understand, first of all, in the book, Moondancer is not battle ready. She's still like a juvenile dragon. Scouting is fine, but not battle ready. So, and then, even then, Moondancer compared to Sheepstealer, huge difference. So this is a huge, this is whatever, a cruiserweight and a flyweight probably getting into a fight. It's just not going to happen. There's no victory there. So, and then again, you're flying Sheepstealer into a battle. Has Sheepstealer seen ships or, arrows or other dragons? This is an isolated wild dragon up in the Vale. We have no idea what he's been exposed to. So, of course, he's, going to start snapping at everybody. It's just overstimulation. What I understand and what I saw, and I don't know if you guys saw this too, if you actually look at the replay, you see Bela riding and she literally turns around. So, and why wouldn't you? If this huge rider and dragon, I'd be like, who is this? I'm sorry, at some point I would turn my head to see who's attacking me. That's helpful information. It's Sheepstealer, but is it a green? Did, somebody else manage to claim a dragon? Are the greens now recruiting dragon seeds for their own purposes? This is need to know information. So we're just assuming, or the way that season 3 is saying is that nobody, according to Rhaena, nobody knows who was riding Sheepstealer. That's just a big mystery. And I kind of see here that, I see Bela turn around. So I'm wondering if she did take a glimpse and see if it was Rhaena. That's her sister. Does she not want to say that? Does she not want to tell Rhaenyra, knowing the repercussions? Oh my gosh, there was Sheepstealer. Sheepstealer lured everybody back into battle, but we don't know who the rider is because it's her sister. And you're telling me nobody on the ships, nobody that, Sheepstealer's dropping bodies. He doesn't care who it is, whose ship it is, what side it is. He's just, Dracarys everybody. Without a command, just everybody. You're telling me nobody took a look, or even glimpse to see who was riding, the dragon, who was riding Sheepstealer, what colors they were wearing. Are they wearing green? Are they, the greens or the blacks, like green or red. None of that was discussed. Nobody, I think that's a really unfair assumption. Right now, everybody seems to be going that. Like, who's this mystery rider on Sheepstealer? Really do not think that's a safe assumption. I think somebody does know. Okay. Maybe, yeah. Maybe the reason Bela is getting closer to Alan and Adam. Perhaps. I mean, I don't know. What would you do in, let's just, for instance, what if Bela did see that it was Rhaena? I mean, what kind of position does that put her in? Does she need to tell Rhaenyra or Daemon? I mean, what kind of sympathy are they going to get? I mean, probably not a lot with Daemon. Rhaenyra, maybe? Is there a timing aspect of it? I would wonder, like, evading or escaping or not claiming responsibility. Like, the longer you wait to come forward, does it, prove worse intentions? I don't know. What do you guys think? It's a really hard situation to be put in. So, but I think that is going to be a very big question is, was Sheepstealer's rider seen by anyone? Right now they're saying no, because Rhaenyra, Daemon, they don't know. They're like, who is Sheepstealer's rider? Did a green claim a dragon? Is there another dragon seed out there? I mean, I don't even know who's left of, bloodline that would be in a position to claim a dragon. Certainly not of any age. I mean, you're even looking at, Helena's kid. Well, I guess kid, not kids now, but kid. And then, of course, Rhaenyra and Daemon's children, well, dragons, eggs, like, are not of age to be riding. So, I guess it would be a dragon seed or something. Okay, so talking point 7. I think Rhaenyra may be more dangerous and unpredictable than Daemon now. Maybe. I don't know, because they've really rewritten her character. I kind of like Rhaenyra from the book. A little darker. They kind of have her going to the dark side now, which it's like finally overdue. I think maybe because they wanted the audience to connect with her or relate with her a little bit more. But, she believes this is her, she's, not just, I want to be on the throne. It's not a power thing for her. She, again, believes the Song of Ice and Fire from her father. She believes in that. She believes that this is for the good of the realm, the position that she needs to be in on the throne. So, she does some pretty ruthless things in the book. For instance, we see that, oh, there's my dog. So we see that, when Daemon beheads, Raymond or whatever, is that his name? Yeah, Corlys's brother. In the book, Rhaenyra, she feeds him to Syrax, her dragon. That's pretty brutal. So now she doesn't want to take a life. So I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay. Hang on 1 second. This is not going to be good. I'm sorry. Okay, back again. Sorry about that. Okay. Anybody with pets knows. That's my Vermithor, by the way. Okay, so, all right. Now, okay, talking point 7. Did Rhaena ever consider her lack of experience with dragons or her siblings? So, we know Rhaena won, the entire show. And actually, we're going to play a clip. I have a clip later on about what she was tasked to do when she was sent up to the Vale. She had responsibilities, and it's important for her to do those. So, did she really weigh that? Did she ever consider, okay, well, I have no experience riding. I don't know if I can hold on. I don't know if this dragon understands commands. I don't know if they're going to respond to my commands. When she gets there and she wants to go help, like, what help are you really what are you gonna bring? Like, what are you bringing to this fight? I mean, you're not Daemon on Caraxes. I mean, you're not Sea Smoke, who, we saw down, like, in the Stepstones. Sea Smoke knows about battle. Like, I don't know if I see I don't think she ever considered, what she really brings. Just bringing another dragon. I mean, in the gullet, there was no other dragons besides what the blacks brought. So, just another dragon, that's not enough. And then what about her and her siblings? She has family. They're blood relations. I mean, you have Joffrey, and Aegon the Third and Viserys. And they're like toddlers. I'm going to show you that clip. And then she's got 4 dragon eggs that Rhaenyra sent with her to the Vale. I mean, that's a huge responsibility. Like, everything that house, like the future of that house. I mean, Rhaenyra says, if all else goes to fail, like, you hold the future to our house. In fact, you know what? We can come back to these talking points. Let me try to play this clip for you real quick and see what you guys think. So we're on talking point number 7. Did Rhaena consider her lack of experience with dragons or her siblings? Okay, so let's watch this. This is from previous seasons.
I've decided to send Joffrey to Ward with my cousin, Lady Jane Arryn. She's pledged an army, and Aegon and Viserys will accompany him until a place of greater safety can be found. I want you to go with them. You must take the little ones further. To Pentos, I think.
So Rhaenyra doesn't think that the Vale's
It
even
is
far
safer
enough.
than anywhere in Westeros. I'm sorry to put this upon you. It breaks my heart to send my boys away. Rhaena,
Just your boys? What about her
I need
too?
you to be the mother to them that I cannot. Teach them, train them, guard them as a dragon guards her eggs.
And my sister?
I need Bailey here.
Because she has a dragon.
I cannot promise
That's all
to
she
make
cares
you
about,
happy.
dragon.
But I ask you, make this sacrifice willingly.
I will be safe enough. Far away from any danger with only babes to nurse me. You do a great service.
Tyraxes and Stormcloud are young and vulnerable. These eggs are even more fragile.
One of those eventually hatches and becomes
But
her
should
dragon
all
in the book,
come to
so
ruin here,
guess that's out.
you will bear our hope for the future.
Your Grace.
Those little ones. So going back to that, like, that kind of gives me goosebumps seeing that, because, I mean, Rhaenyra basically says, if it all goes to heck here, like, you have the future. You have heirs, male heirs, by the way. She has Joffrey, Viserys, and Aegon. She has 4 eggs. I mean, there's nothing. She has such a great amount of responsibility, such an important role. And is she thinking about what's the best way I can contribute to my family, or, this side in the battle? Or is it basically, I'm just going to claim any dragon because I want a dragon? Is it selfish? Is it, I don't feel of worth unless I have a dragon. I want to be like Baela, who has a dragon. No one's going to respect me unless I have a dragon. Like, what do you guys think? Does anybody have anything to add into the comments? Yeah, so it's never really discussed in the book, but apparently from, that was season 1, I believe, that they showed Rhaena going to the Vale, and those are the 3, three of those eggs end up being Dany's eggs from Game of Thrones, and then the other egg is what is supposed to be Morning, which eventually hatches when Rhaena's older, and that becomes Morning, which she does claim, but yeah, so I don't know. I guess they just rewrote all that. So, she can't claim 2 dragons. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so let's move on to talking point 8. Options for Rhaena. She has asylum in the Vale or Pentos versus pleading for mercy. What do you think? What would you do in her situation? She was selfish but hurt. Yeah, I mean, I think intentions be damned. I mean, she took a way greater risk even flying down there. Yeah, What does George R. R. Martin think of the new Rhaena? I'm pretty sure he's not aboard any of this. I would tend to side with him. I loved Rhaena as a character from the book. I feel like in terms of the greater story for House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, she served such an important role, and this kind of being a little bit bratty. I understand she wants to help, but not understanding the full ramifications of what she's doing. I just think that she got rewritten in a very negative way that makes you less likely to support her. There's a difference between being young and being careless and just being, that's hubris. That's just reckless abandonment of minor children that you're entrusted to watch. Eggs. Those eggs are more valuable than anything. Like, you're just leaving them there. Like, I don't understand that. And then I don't understand what good she thought she was going to do, even going to battle with just another dragon to fly around. Like, intimidation alone, is that a deterrent? Because she knows she has no ability to fly or control. Like, I don't know how to fly a plane. I wouldn't get in a plane and being like, I'm going to go help out in this battle. I mean, no. I just know that wouldn't end. Options, we don't know. We assume that the eggs are still in the Vale. We know that Joffrey is still in the Vale with Aegon and Viserys. They're supposed to be, and we saw that in the clip. Lady Jane says they're supposed to be on their way to Pentos. And like the clip I just showed you, that was always Rhaenyra's intentions. Like, let's get them out of King's Landing. Let's get them out of Dragonstone. Let's send them to the Vale first. But that's just a pit stop before they go to Pentos. And of course, having, is it Prince Reggio overseas in Pentos, where Rhaenyra actually, that's far enough away that, Rhaenyra's like, I want the eggs. I want my, my my kids there. Which, by the way, they're all heirs. Like, so again, the bloodline, you have, Jacaerys and then Lucerys and then Joffrey and then, Aegon and Viserys. So they're all males, like, in that bloodline, which, Westeros doesn't have a problem with male heirs. So she knows that she's got to protect them. And then that's another thing, too. I don't know if you look back and see the video I played about with Rhaenyra telling her, you're going to go to the Vale and then go to Pentos. She's like, where my mother died? Like, we know Lena died there. And I know that's probably traumatic and not, the best place for her to go. But makes sense for the family. It makes sense for her to be far enough out of danger, guarding with the most valued possessions in the world for her family. That's her family, too. Okay, so options for Rhaena. Rhaena begged for mercy. I wonder how long, how she would explain just blowing off the kids' eggs and her responsibilities. I don't know if she's going to. I mean, since this is such a major rewrite, I don't know what she's going to do. I mean, you're going to run? Running to the Vale is not far enough. I mean, just in this episode 3, Rhaenyra tells Daemon, I need you to go to the Vale. And now Lady Jane never sent the army that she promised. So instead of the army, she wants gold because, the coffers are depleted in King's Landing. So, and Daemon's just loving this. You remember his first wife. He thinks that he's got a claim to the Vale through his first marriage. So he just can't wait to go back up there with his dragon. And again, if that's where Sheepstealer calls home, he's just living for this. I mean, not the person you want to recklessly be sending up there after you. So, Rhaena trying to take asylum in the Vale, I don't think that's far enough. Pentos would probably be a better option for her. And then again, how far do you run? I understand right after the trauma of the event, you probably don't want to be like, hey, Rhaenyra, it was me. I claimed this dragon. I made a mistake. Emotions, are hot right now. But again, at the same time, the longer you wait, I think the worse it is. At a certain point, coming forward and pleading mercy, it's gonna be more, she might have better luck coming forward sooner, and coming forward herself, because again, we go back to, was Sheepstealer's rider ever seen by anyone? I mean, what if Bela did? I mean, Bela turned around. You guys saw it there. Bela turned around. What if she did see it? And she's just not telling Rhaenyra and Daemon right now because it's her sister. We don't know. Like, I mean, that's what you're betting. Your whole bet is, I'm far enough away, no one's gonna come find me in the Vale. I don't know if I'm gonna come forward yet, and I don't think anybody saw me. That's what that's Rhaena's play. No, I mean, being scared and running as like a gut reaction is one thing. So I think she's going to, and we didn't see it in this episode, but I think very soon she's going to be confronted with making other choices, or maybe choices are going to be made for her. Okay, so talking point number 9. Sheepstealer in the Vale, asset or liability? So what do you guys see? What do you guys think? I mean, Sheepstealer has lived in the Vale, as far as we know, his whole life. And do you think Sheepstealer being in the Vale was really a challenge to Vhagar? Do you think Aemon and Vhagar was like, oh, we ain't gonna go mess with the Vale because there's that dragon Sheepstealer up there? And then I think it could be a liability since no one controls Sheepstealer, but can turn into an asset once claimed and controlled. Yeah, but can Sheepstealer be claimed and controlled? She's the rider now. You're supposed to have a bond with your dragon. You're supposed to be able to control them. She clearly has no control. They've never had any practice. Like, I don't know what it's going to take. Goes back to, how do dragons learn command? What is that process? That's why as children, all the children are sent to the dragon pit growing up to learn that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think, my personal opinion is, I don't think Aemon gives two flips about Sheepstealer and a rider. Sheepstealer alone, rider less in the Vale. Or, Sheepstealer with a rider in the Vale. I guess it's a more even fight than, Sheepstealer than versus Moondancer, but still, I mean, Vhagar's battle tested. Vhagar is, Visenya's dragon, like, I mean, yeah, like, that is, I don't know, I guess, the reigning dragon of the time at this point. So there's really no comparison. I'm not sure that Sheepstealer in the Vale is an asset or a liability. And then looking from Lady Jane's perspective. So Sheepstealer's been there all along. Like, if you thought just some dragon, some uncontrolled, untamed dragon flying around was really going to be protection for you, then what was this whole bid to Rhaenyra? Like, I'll watch, I'll be a ward of your family line if you send me a dragon. Like, what was that whole point? She had a dragon. Why was she asking for that? She had a dragon called Sheepstealer. Nobody claims him. He don't listen to anybody. He does his own thing, which is basically the same Sheepstealer that's up there right now. What's the difference? And then the fact that now she's turning a blind eye. What is it, Rhaena's like, I'm not asking anything from you that hasn't been going on for decades. Just blindness is what I'm asking from you. Blindness? She's not blind. Everybody knows. I mean, word's not going to get out. Like, they flew ravens to, who's riding. I mean, Rhaenyra right now, Daemon right now, they're asking, they want to know, where is Aemon? He burned Harrenhal. Like, we'll see that later on. And where's Sheepstealer and who's Sheepstealer's rider? Like, ravens are sent. That's what everybody's looking for right now. So you don't think someone's going to come forward with that? Oh, yeah, you looking for Sheepstealer? Sheepstealer's up in the Vale. And so Rhaena's not, in the Eyrie, in the castle, being protected. She's just, I guess they're sharing some flambe sheep together out in, the pastures. That's her life now, I guess. And no one's ever going to rat her out there. That's safe for her there. And then Lady Jane's claim is going to be, I knew nothing about it. What did she say? I can't control where a wild dragon resides. That's the play? That's what you're going to go with? Rhaenyra's like, are you harboring someone who killed my son? Who killed the heir to the throne? You knew this dragon was up here with the rider. That's the play you're going to go with? I mean, I think Lady Jane's first, what are you doing here? How dare you come here? You're not welcome here was probably the right, action. But then again, I don't know that, I'm not convinced that Rhaena flew a Sheepstealer up to the Vale. She has no control of that dragon. None whatsoever. She can spit commands all day. That dragon's going to do whatever they want to do. Dropping bodies here, attacking your sister, attacking other dragons, burning ships left and right, random. That dragon doesn't care. It's just all gut instincts and gut reactions right now. So maybe on Sheepstealer's own accord, he decided to flew to where he knew best, which was the Vale. So it might not have even been her intention to go back there. Yeah, I'm hoping the writers take the easy way out and just let Rhaena fly off on Sheepstealer and disappear. Maybe that would be like compassion. Part of me actually wants her to face, since they went down this road, there should be consequences. And unfortunately, it's Westeros, and the consequences are brutal. And I guess going to the Night's Watch for a female isn't really an option. So hey, what are we talking about here? That might not be a good thing. But yeah, I cringed watching the whole Rhaena Sheepstealer claiming thing. I just cringe. I think that the writer should have just left Sheepstealer out of it. You don't want to go with the Nettle storyline, then just you got 3 dragon seeds, you got the other dragons claimed. Leave Sheepstealer alone, leave Rhaena alone. I didn't care. She had last week we found out was episode 1. She's going to the Vale with the heirs and the kids and the dragon eggs, and they're gonna make a pit stop there and then end up in Pentos. Again, things happen. Well, we'll see what happens. But again, I know you're going crazy. Okay. But again, let's just see that's going on with that. And, I think that would have been just where they should have left it. All right. So, final thoughts and predictions for Sheepstealer. Yeah, no, I'm going to get them in a minute. That's little Cyrax, my cosplay dog. Yep, I could put her in her outfit, but she'd probably just hog up all the attention. Any last thoughts and final thoughts and predictions for Rhaena and Sheepstealer before we moved on to the second topic to discuss in this stream? Thoughts, predictions? We've kind of got into it a little bit. What do we think about? I don't know. I've gone back and I probably should have made a clip of this. If you guys go back and rewatch House of the Dragon from season 1, episode 1, there's a monologue which Rhaenyra opens up with, and this is when Jacaerys, they're trying to choose whether it's going to be Viserys or Rhaenys that take the throne, and the whole monologue is about the only thing that's going to take down the Targaryens is basically like from within. So I feel like that's maybe the tone and the theme that the show writers have tried to carry through the seasons, and going back and seeing that again kind of refresh. I'm like, maybe that's why they brought this in-house. And if you see after episode 1, what is her name? Phoebe Campbell, who plays Rhaena. I don't like Rhaena's character, but I think she does, the best job portraying her. She's probably the most empathetic and sweetest person in the world, and plays like a pretty bratty teen pretty well. I mean, I think she's doing a phenomenal job with what she's given. But when she says, she's like, I think the stakes are higher when it's family, when you're bringing it into your family, when your actions are going to cause the death or, the harm to your family. And that is absolutely 100% true. So I think that's what the writer's intentions were by changing the storyline, like Nettle's storyline, to Rhaena. I just think that in the greater universe leaves out a lot of important lore, things that we know about or should know about what dragons are, how they're claimed, their bonds, and I don't know. And then how do you tie up all those loose ends? I think right now they're kind of backed into a corner. So Daemon's going to go up there, and that's another thing too. I saw this too. Was it? I always liked Helena telling Daemon his vision, and that it's all just a story, and we're a part of the story. Yep. And Daemon now believes that too. I mean, since his, the haunting of Harrenhal, like he absolutely, didn't believe in all that kind of, whatever dreamy stuff that Viserys does, but he does now. If you go back and you look, I believe it's when they're all in Pentos. So Rhaena's having a talk with Lena, and she's like, they're trying to relate, and she's like, I didn't have a dragon forever. Like, she's like, and you have to claim your dragon. She's like, but now I ride Vhagar. And if you remember, and I love this episode when there's like cute little Lena, and I know it's really grossly inappropriate, but they're trying to court her to Viserys, and there's like just this disgusting age difference. But she's like, what was it like riding, Balerion, and where do you think Vhagar is? And you just see that fire and that passion in Lena, and she's talking with her daughter Rhaena, and she's trying to tell her about being that you'll be a dragon rider and how you claim a dragon. But the entire time Rhaena's expressing how she's like, Daemon ignores me. He doesn't talk to me because I don't have a dragon. He pays attention to Baela. So go again, knowing where the story's heading now, you go back and you're like, is that foreshadowing? Like, does Daemon not really respect blood? I'm not sure how much Daemon respects. I mean, his children. You would think so, but I mean, he says at the end of at this end of season 1 when Otto comes there, he's like, I'd rather feed to my children to the dragons than take a knee to your usurper, whatever king. So I don't know. I mean, Daemon's got his principles, and that's what he lives by. I don't know, like, was that like foreshadowing when we go back and we see that Rhaena doesn't think that she has a bond with her own father, that she's like, the black sheep, it's funny, Sheepstealer, the black sheep of her family, when it comes to Daemon? Like, is this all this foreshadowing that the writers might actually have Daemon do whatever, what he does to Valerians or Valerian bloodline? I don't know, maybe. We'll see. So, I mean, everything's up in the air now because, like I said, it's a total rewrite. God only knows. So, all right. Any final thoughts before we move on to the second topic, which is the Greens? Who is the bigger threat? And it's Aemon or Ormond. And just when you think you're like, I know the answer, you're like, wait a minute, there could be more to this. Any thoughts? Okay, so moving on to topic 2. All right, here's another clip. And if you haven't seen it again, these are edited clips, just to try to give you context. So here you go. I think this is from, I want to say episodes 1. Well, I think this one's Ormond, so it'll be episode 3. All right, so here we go. And I'm going to go get a little one. Hang on.
Ended, your allies have scattered and your nephews fled. There is a new queen and she sits her father's throne. Only bend the knee and swear your allegiance. You may return to Old Town and live your lives in peace.
Have you any proof of your claim? Or am I to trust in the reliability and rectitude of the rogue prince? And if I am inclined to fight?
That seems obvious enough. No need to sully the pleasantness of this meeting.
For myself, I would resist. But I have many other lives to consider. And so, in the interests of peace, I will submit. I, Ormond Hightower, promise to be faithful to Rhaena Targaryen.
Our campaign is ended. We take the Rose Road homeward.
Ah! I almost forgot. Your ward, Darren Targaryen, he'll be coming with me.
You would take him hostage?
It would be rather an oversight to allow one of Prince Aegon's heirs to go prancing about the Reach with his dragon, no less.
Oh yeah, I think Ormond is probably one of the most fascinating characters that we've met so far this season.
Well met, nephew.
Did you guys catch it?
Go home.
I have to admit, the first time I was like, but it didn't dawn on me right away.
I have your son, Darren, here as part of the terms under which your cousin surrendered.
I wish to see him.
You don't know this boy. He is not Darren.
He compelled me. I begged him.
Who compelled you?
Lord Ormond Hightower. I must stay silent.
We don't know.
Or he would have my mother hanged.
How cunning, how much of a strategist is he? We don't know how much he knew.
Has deceived me.
I mean, it does
Did
make
he
sense
think
to
I
a
would
degree.
not discover it?
I mean, he
What
is
game
an
does he
heir.
play?
So just like, you know, we talk about an heir, you talk about, you know, so there's Jacaerys and then Lucerys and now Joffrey's the heir. I mean, it would be Aegon, Aemon, and then Darren. So I guess from that, you know, perspective, but that's how far he's thinking ahead. Okay, so now again, the topic that we're keeping in mind here is who is the, I guess, the biggest threat from the Greens right now, Ormond or Aemond. So let's go look at some clips from Aemond. All right. It's from episode
Aemond,
1.
why are you here?
Aegon has abdicated the throne.
What do you mean?
This is
Fled
boldness
King's
to sit
Landing.
on the throne
With
and
that
post it up.
toad, Laris.
Well, where could he have
That
gone?
toad,
Why?
Laris.
Because he's even more stupid than he is craven.
And what of Harrenhal? You and Vhagar were meant to fly to meet Sir Criston and challenge Daemon together.
Aegon has left me no choice but to remain here and defend the city. Lord Ormond and 15,000 Hightower men presently march up the Manda with Daeron and his dragon. We only need to bide our time.
You need to go to Harrenhal.
To what end?
It is a stronghold. You are no longer safe here.
I'm not afraid.
But you are the crown now. And Rhaena will send her new dragons here for you. At Harrenhal, you will be unassailable. You are so courageous. But I cannot lose you as I did Aegon.
Her eyes just, whoa. I mean, we knew some Oedipal stuff was going on, but all right, we went there, okay.
I shall host a feast there, in your honor.
Man, Vhagar's been through it.
Taryn.
It's these scenes that have made this season, like, worth watching no matter what.
I seek Daemon Targaryen. Draw your sword.
Your Grace, I have no sword.
Then get one.
I do not wish to oppose you. I have not wielded a blade these many years. Surely there is some other way you might find satisfaction? The army has decamped. There's nothing to stop you.
Look at his face, just ice cold, man. Nothing.
Father!
I'm like an Aemon apologist. He's brutal and kind of, well, a little kind of screwy, but I love it. I just think his character's so rich. Yeah, for all his prowess as being like a great fighter, he just wasn't watching his back. And Alice. Okay, so talking points on that. All right, and please leave comments. I see we have like 9 people in the stream. Oh, thank you everybody for joining. I'm sorry, this is really informal. Obviously you can see today, but I just wanted to at least touch on these 2 main topics because I know there's a lot to discuss with this show. And we're only 3 episodes in. Okay, so yes, he is. Aemon is a homicidal maniac, but in his mind, his actions are justifiable. I think a lot of this is from his childhood and, you know, the, was it the pink dread? I mean, they kind of, you know, he was definitely raised into his monster type thing to some degree. But like I said, I'm an Aemon apologist, so it's probably not a good thing for me to discuss that because I'll, you know, I just love that character. Sorry. I think it's amazing. All right, so talking point number 1, Daemon versus Ormond. Thoughts? I love their face-off, like when they show them in the field. So this is, so now Ormond is supposed to be, and as we see from episode 1, he's supposed to be going to, I guess he's supposed to try to meet them, and he doesn't make it because obviously the Battle of the Gullets happened. Oh, there we go, another one. Okay, and Rhaenyra has taken King's Landing. So he basically hears that rumors and he stops. So this is just kind of some random field in the Riverlands. And when you see Daemon there and like the 3 dragons, like, I mean, Caraxes with that like serpentine kind of neck and like Vermithor and, you know, Silverwing, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, let them fight the dragons. I'm just so excited, you know, but it's just kind of a posturing thing. And then you see this beautiful Tissarin who's like a, you know, teenage dragon there. So, and I just kind of love the comparison, the face-off between the 2 because you have, you know, I think they're both battle savvy and battle tested, but you have impulsive, ruthless. I mean, Daemon was at his finest, like down the stepstones, you know, like just, you know, I mean, that one scene where he just kind of sacrifices it all and just takes out everybody, like that's just amazing. Like, mwah, chef's kiss to that. And then Ormond is a different kind of cunning. He's a Hightower. He's got the strategy and, you know, a game plan, and you can kind of see his facial expressions. It's so subtle. That acting is just superb. The acting in the show in this season is just phenomenal. Like, Emmys next year, so many characters, so many of these actors need to be nominated. Just the subtleties of their performance, like you see it in his face, like, you know, okay, like I got a plan if Daemon goes this way and I got a plan here and I got a plan there. So just to see their interaction, 2 very different but very capable fighters and warriors. What do you guys think? Daemon versus Ormond, your thoughts? Ormond broke his oath with fake Darren. He signed his own death warrant. Yeah, I don't think that oath was literally for show. I mean, he kind of says it. He's like, basically says, he's like, you know, I would never concede like, he's kind of like, yeah, but I have to because I've been put in charge of all these people and I got to worry about all these people. I mean, he says it. And Damon's like, Damon's kind of like, I just wish you would. Like, all right, you want to jump, let's go. Yep. So, yep. I think there's very few characters that are as pure as Helena. I think Lucerys is one of them too, which is so sad. The children. All right. Talking point number 2. Did you guys catch the switch with Darren? I mean, that's pretty, like, I gotta give Ormond props. That was pretty smart. I mean, I don't know what they did to, like, I guess he said he, like, bleached his hair. Kind of reminds me of A Knight of Seven Kingdoms when Egg has to shave his head. Like, they know, like, the hair is, like, the Targaryen identifying feature. So, shaving your head bald, you don't have that hair, Egg can pass off, and then now in this show, just take some random kid and dye his hair blonde and, hey, you're a Targaryen, put him in nice clothes. I mean, that's pretty sharp. I give him that. Don't give up the heir. I mean, or one of the heirs. Okay, here's the one thing I have to say. And this kind of bothered me. And again, I'm definitely not smarter than anybody, but in the world of Westeros, and given the fact that Daemon is a dragon rider, and he makes this speech like, I'm not, why would I leave an heir running around the Riverlands with the dragon? And you didn't even see, like, Darren or whoever this individual is with the dragon. Like, you didn't make them both walk over together. Like, would you want to take the dragon back to, I mean, if you're going to capture Darren, I mean, at this point now, too, now imagine, okay, so in King's Landing, you have Cyrax, Vermithor, Sea Smoke, Silverwing, and, Caraxes with Daemon. So, I mean, dude, they're dragoned up over there. So, what are they going to do? Like, I mean, wouldn't you just say to Darren, like, you and your dragon, you're being captured and you're being held, imprisoned in King's Landing. They have a dragon pit to lock up your dragon. Remember when Meleys was there and Rhaenys was trying to, during the coronation ceremony for Aegon, she was trying to get to Meleys. So they have a way of locking up the dragon so that the rider can't get to them. This is in King's Landing. So, like, why didn't Darren say, hey, you and your dragon? Because if that boy, whoever this random boy was, had approached Tessarion, he can't ride Tessarion. Like, Tessarion's not going to let this person. So, I mean, obviously, somewhere in that, I don't know if he was dressed as a, a servant or a warrior. I mean, the real Darren is there somewhere, because Tessarion would not be hanging out there or lined up there without, like, his, like, warm body nearby. I just can't believe that Daemon, for all his, I mean, he's a sly, pretty slick, person too. Like, that all he did was, like, flip his hair and kind of be like, all right, you're a son of my brother's, like, okay, come on, like, there you go, lad. Like, I just didn't see that. Like, I'm surprised there was in that exchange, no testing of, like we know from the Red Sewing, bring this individual who we know is not a dragon seed, is not of Valyrian or Targaryen blood, bring him near the dragon and see how his dragon reacts to him. Because that would have been your surefire test right there. Maybe they dyed Darren's hair dark. I don't know. I think you see the real Darren, I believe it's in episode 1, when Ormond gets the Raven note from Aemond, and he's like, oh, I guess Aemond's king now. He's like, well, one king's as good as another. You see that in, I believe that's episode 1, and Darren's there, and his hair is a little bit darker, but I mean, the boy that they got to play Darren or to be the doppelganger, I mean, that's pretty convincing. I just feel like you can probably pull that over on somebody else. I was a little surprised Ormond was able to pull that over on Daemon, of all people. Okay, So talking point number 3, how long has Ormond's plan been in place? How long do you think he's been planning that? Do you think he intended the entire time that he has Darren and Tessarion out there to always have a decoy in hand? Or do you think maybe he decided to go ahead and make that deal once he got word that Rhaenyra had taken King's Landing and sits the throne? When did he put that strategy in place? Any thoughts? No. Okay. All right, so moving on to the next one. 4. Is Darren complicit in the Green's plans? So as we see when Rhaenyra confronts the doppelganger of Darren, she was like, she's, quizzing him, like, what do you know about Aemon? Where's Aegon? Like, what happened? And then her reasoning for sending him, and I didn't show this in the clip, but in episode 3, her decision, contrary to what Daemon recommends, she does not want to kill Darren. She wants to, send him to the wall. And her reasoning is he just wasn't as complicit. He was just his older brother and sister. His older brothers, Aegon and Aemon, who are the antagonists. They are the usurpers. They're playing the active role in this rebellion. Darren just, is family and has to go along. That's her reasoning. But, at this point now, how complicit is Darren? He's allowing Ormond at this point to, Ormond's like, hey, I don't want them taking you, so here's your doppelganger. This person's going to wear your clothes, act like you, pretend to be you. You are going to dress like a soldier, a servant, something else that's not obvious. Maybe they shaved his head too, like Egg or something. We don't know. And this person's going to walk around in close enough to your dragon where we can think that this is, that's Tessarion's rider. And, like, he's consenting to all of this. So does that make him more complicit, or is it still where you're like, hey, maybe he's young enough that, he's just going along with this, with his, uncle and his other, his other family, the other Hightowers are suggesting. I wonder because Gwaine once told Alicent that Darren was kind and compassionate, unlike Aegon and Aemond. Yep. He definitely benefited from not growing up in King's Landing. Yeah, Darren is a very likable Hightower. Universally. And that's even from unreliable narrators in the book. Both have positive things to say about Darren. So now you're kind of like, wait a minute, is he part of these, this kind of shenanigans? Family's family, I get it. But, I definitely think him agreeing to this doppelganger situation, maybe to some degree, makes him a little bit more complicit. Okay, so this might be a little much, but topic 5. Alicent and Aemon, thoughts? So, the whole, potential incest thing, I don't know. Obviously, it's just a very creepy, awkward situation. We know with Westeros, incest, uncles, sisters, it's kind of all fair game. But this is the first time we really see mother-son. I don't know. Rewatching that scene, I'm not, yes, definitely some Oedipus issues going on. I think that's been there for the entire time. This is definitely many steps forward beyond that. I know every time I kind of, again, it's cringy every time you watch the scene, but every time I go back and watch it, I wonder, I think it's Aemon many ways, maybe acceptance or, mother, obviously. And that we've been watching, the Vampire Lestat, and that's just crazy in terms of that, mother-son relationship. So this is what we're talking about a lot now. But then I also look back at it from Alicent's perspective, or, I don't think Alicent has those intentions or feelings, but I very much see her, she, knows how to play up under men in power. And that's all she has. I don't knock her for it. She's done, an amazing job being as about it influential as a woman could be in Westeros. Even Rhaenyra admits, you ruled the Seven Kingdoms in all but name. And Viserys allowed her to do that. She endeared herself. Endeared herself to men in power. I see kind of textbook Alicent, just the way she kind of, oh, had you been born first, Aemond, you should have been king. And, oh, if something happens to you, I couldn't bear it. And just yes, it's mother, son, but there's definitely a physicality there that I'm kind of wondering, intended to or not. I'm I don't know. There's just a lot of, from that scene. There's a lot. Any other thoughts with Alicent and Aemond? It kind of makes me uncomfortable talking about it, but I think that's the point. Yes, Alicent is so sly. And I like when they play her that way. I didn't like the way they depicted Alicent in season 1. This kind of, girl and, my dad's just putting me in positions, and it's you felt like she was being kind of pimped out. I like the Alicent who grew up in court, who's a Hightower, who, yes, has very sweet and very pure, demeanor and nature, but isn't oblivious to her surroundings. She's intelligent. She knows where she's growing up, and she's Otto, the most cunning statesman's, child, and his favorite. Otto didn't bring Gawain with him to court. He brought Alicent. I like that Alicent. Gives her a little bit dimension. Alicent is much like Cersei, but not as psychotic. Yeah, perhaps not as overtly psychotic. And again, I think that makes a female character richer. I loved Cersei as a character. I guess villain, and it's the Game of Thrones. Play the game. It's a dirty game. She played it. Alicent, she knows how to, she's, again, just one step over from power every time, which is all that, in this realm right now, a woman can be expected to be. And she's there. She's been the most successful at it. She's more successful at nearly ruling than we've seen Rhaenyra, who is rightfully supposed to rule. So, even the scene where we see Rhaenyra kind of leaning into Alicent like a confidant, how'd you do it? It's pretty universally acknowledged that Alicent can rule. She did rule. All right, talking point number 6. Is Alicent trying to protect Aemon or keep her deal with Rhaenyra? So when she comes back from Dragonstone, because she's got this great plan in place, and she comes back and finds out that Aegon's fled with Larys, and Aemon is sitting on the throne. So it's basically all gone to crap. And so what does she do? She goes into Alicent mode in a way, and she's approaching Aemon, and she's like, "You're supposed to go to Harrenhal. You're supposed to finish this once and for all. You're supposed to claim, bait and kill Caraxes and just with Vhagar." She gives him all the reasons he was supposed to go. Is she doing that? And that because she made a deal with Rhaenyra. By the time you come with your dragons to King's Landing, her deal was she was going to give Rhaenyra Aegon. Like, unfortunately, she was giving her son up to be beheaded, and she promised Rhaenyra that Aemon and Vhagar would be gone. So it'd be so much easier for them to come to King's Landing. So is she trying to, you know, or like kind of, you know, poke and prod Aemon to go for that reason, to keep her promise to Rhaenyra? Or do you think she really does, to some degree, say, okay, you know, change of play. You know, I mean, it's an ever-evolving game, change of play. All right, I don't want, now, she says, Aemon, you sit the throne. You are the king now. It's not safe for you here. You and Vhagar alone with that many dragons that the Blacks have, you need to go. Like, you are not safe here. Do you think it is a protecting Aemon, probably the only solid claim to the throne from her family? Or is she just trying to comply with Rhaenyra? Which one is it? She was humbled after she was removed from council. Yeah. And I know she was shocked, but I feel like to some degree she always knew that, you know, she would always serve there on the privilege of a man. Viserys that allowed her to rule. Otto, you know, I mean, Aemon was like, go do something domesticated. That was like, infuriated me. It's like, get back in the kitchen. And you're like, I mean, I'm sure it did to Alicent too. She was like, you know, she was a wise counselor. After seeing Otto beheaded, I wonder what Alicent's intentions are now. I don't know. I don't think she knows exactly what's going on. I think she's smart enough to figure it out. And I think there's, in the scene with Daemon and Mysaria, when Mysaria is saying, like, do you think there's any childhood friendship still between Rhaenyra and Alicent? Like, can Alicent be trusted? You know, they both reluctantly admit she's a Hightower. I mean, and that's not a knock. They're savvy. They're intelligent. They're savvy. They grew up in court. They are counselors to the realm, and, you know, but again, they know politics. They are politicians. So she's a Hightower. Wonder what she thinks of Aegon the Second now. Well, her son Aegon, that's Aegon the Second. I don't know. I don't know what Alicent thinks. I think of her two sons, she knows she can probably end up influencing, controlling Aegon more than she can Aemond. So, yes, I love... That's the one slightly different from the book thing. There's a few of them that I actually feel like the series enhances. I think Daemon Mysaria has been enhanced, you know, in the live action show and the adaptation. Sorry, that's my dog again. All right, so let's see. All right. Talking point 7, Vhagar and Aemon at Harrenhal. Your impressions. What did you think of that scene? That's my Vermithor right there. That's my impression of the Vhagar Aemon scene at Harrenhal, sorry. I think that is just phenomenal. I mean, that's what we want to see, you know, Vhagar do. I mean, it kind of calls back to me, you know, Harrenhal, that was, you know, the Black Dread. Like, you know, this is a historic, you know, castle landmark, and to have these old, epic, ancient dragons just lay waste to everybody involved. Like, just seeing that, just the ruthlessness. I mean, this is what the season promises, is the Dance of Dragons. Dragons, you know, and their carnage. That was carnage. And then again, too, Aemon probably, you know, along with Daemon, the most skilled fighters, like physically skilled fighters, like can hold their own. Well, I mean, actually, too, you know, Kristen Cole, I mean, remember in the tourneys, you know, he, you know, dehorsed Daemon. So, I mean, these, it's good to see, like, whatever, you're kind of, the A team kind of, show their skill. Alright. Okay, that's going to bother me. Alright. So then what next? Hang on, guys. I'm sorry. Hang on. Okay, so this is the most chaotic live stream ever. But yeah, things have been just insane here since the 4th. 4th of July and fireworks. I've not been able to calm my dog since. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I know, it's me just jumping in. Gotta love the doggies. They're my little dragons. Okay. All right. Topic or talking point number 8. Aemond and Alice Rivers predictions. Of course, there's book spoilers, but that aside, what do you see happening there? What the showrunners might do or change or adapt? I mean, clearly, Aemond is, injured and is in a very vulnerable position, so he obviously needs her help. She's a witch and, maester in a way. Do you see anything happening there? What are your predictions? How can I walk through walls? Do I have superpowers? No. Nope. Opening a door. I think a scene that was particularly effective. Okay, so Alice, while Daemon was there, we got a whole season of just loopy Daemon. I get it. Harrenhal's cursed, ghost craziness, but it was an entire season of him just being like trippy or tripped out. Like, it was a little bit annoying, I think. But anyways, the whole point of all that was, he realized that the story was larger than him, kind of the supernatural, kind of the mystical. That's what Alice presents. I think he gained an appreciation for that. But in the beginning of, season 3, she presents to, at the end of season 2, you're kind of like, and this is where I see like kind of a little writing discrepancy, and I don't know if it's intentional or not, that he has, like, Daemon admits some sort of respect, like, I learned not to question you. Like, at first he's like, you witch, what are you doing? That realizing she does have some sort of insight, like, kind of respecting her gifts. But then in season 3, when she's like, well, make me Lord of Harrenhal. Like, I've seen these men come and go. So now you look at, the Strongs and, Lord Strong, Harwin Strong, Lara Strong, now Simon Strong. Like, it's all these, it's like she's thinking this, like, revolving cycle of men, mismanagement, the castle's in disrepair, and she definitely seems very capable. And then even, too, with this, greater kind of, kind of mystical power, being like a witch or whatever. She's like, why don't you name me if he's gone? Like, why don't you name me, or, if you're going to take the throne, give Harrenhal to me. And he's like, yeah, no, we don't do that, chicks. Like, that's what Daemon kind of says in his blunt way. And I feel like, one, that's kind of a contradiction to how Daemon had grown through season 2, surrendering and respecting, Rhaenyra that it is the intention for her to be on the throne, and then recognizing his place, respecting Alice's giftings and, you know, her skills. And then this season he's like, yeah, no, you can't, you know, you can't run it. It's never been done before. A female can't be lord of this, which, I mean, you know, in the Vale, that's not true. So I'm not really sure why he said that to Alice, but I feel like that scene was very intentional to, like, kind of really mark where we would have assumed at this point that Alice would align with Daemon. And now you have to understand too, Alice knows the full, I mean, she knows about the Song of Ice and Fire. She knows the big picture. She knows that, I mean, back from the sightings of the White Hart, and that it's Rhaenyra, that she's supposed to be on 30. Like, she knows that this is the way the story is supposed to go. So, you know, if she's true to that, if she has the gift and she sees that and that's what belongs, like, wouldn't that automatically mean she's like Team Black? So you would think that, but I think that scene made it very clear that, you know, once she kind of got shunned from him, like, it's all fair game. It's in play, like, you know, it's in play now. I see a lot, you know, not even what happens in the book, because again, at this point, there's so many changes from the book that you have to really divorce yourself from the novel. Otherwise, it's maddening. But now looking at it, I think, okay, well, you know, I can see where she'd be inclined to head a different way after that last conversation with Daemon. So, Aemon and Alice Rivers, any predictions? Oh, thank you for joining. I'm sorry you have to run. I'm glad people are in the live stream. It's not a lot of you, but it'll be replaying, and I'm going to try to do some more. Yeah, I'm going to calm my little dragons down. I will definitely do that. And then tomorrow evening, the Vampire Lestat watch party. Please join for that. Anybody new who hasn't seen that, if you haven't seen that show, that is so good. You need to see that. Okay. Bye, Cardinal Standard. Thank you. Okay. So moving on to talking point 9. We're almost done. Who's the bigger threat? After all this review, who's the bigger threat in terms of, I guess, the alpha green? Ormond or Aemond? What do you think? I have to say this one's a tricky one. Like, at first I'm like, Aemond, he's got a dragon, he's got Vhagar. Like, duh, like, you know, I mean, that's the point of claiming dragons, right? It's not a fair fight. But then I'm kind of like, is he impulsive? Is he making careless mistakes? And now that the end of this episode, he's injured, and he's going to be there with Alice, who, just like she did a number with Daemon, and, you know, he's going to get cursed Harrenhal experience too. So Lord knows the visions he's going to see and all the stuff that, you know, is going to go on in his mind at Harrenhal while he's recovering. So, I mean, is that going to take him out of play? And then Ormond obviously has had some sort of strategy in place for the Greens long ago. Not exactly sure when everything's been detailed. I think his strategy is a little bit more general. Like, you know, when he gets that, you know, the raven or the message from Aemon, he's like, oh, you know, I guess Aemon's is the throne now, and one king's as good as the other. Like, I don't, you know, as long as it's his line, and you can see in the trailers, he's like, this is the rightful line. I think he's game. I think that's really dangerous too. More like tactical battlefield, you know, danger, political alliances, you know, taking Tumbleton. And again, not to give any spoilers of not what happens in the books. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen tomorrow night. But that's a play for sure. That's a power play. So, you know, all of that, like the strategy, maneuvering, you know, the intelligence of Ormond versus Aemond, skilled fighter, gloriously cold and, you know, ruthless, but yet impulsive. Vhagar. Half the time I feel bad for Vhagar. Vhagar just wants to retire. Like, poor Vhagar. Like, I don't know. But I mean, that dragon gets it done. So, What do you guys think? Who's the bigger threat? Ormond or Aemond? If you don't want to participate in the live stream, or if you can't for whatever reason, I know some people watch from overseas, so you're not getting subtitles yet. Just whenever you replay, please leave your thoughts in the comments. I love the community interaction. It's okay to be passionate too. All right, and final thoughts on episodes 1 to 3. In the thumbnail, thumbs up, thumbs down, sorry. Which do you guys think? How would you rate it? How would you score? I don't know. For me, it's a mixed bag. There's times when I watch it and I'm infuriated. Like, I was infuriated by episode 1. I do not like the choices with Sheepstealer and Rhaena. I just don't. Even within that storyline, like as is, you know, if I didn't know what happened in the books, I still don't, it doesn't make sense. I don't like that choice. I don't like the Battle of the Gullet. I think that's not, if you guys know from the book, that's not the Battle of the Gullet. The Battle of the Gullet had Vermithor was there, Sea Smoke, and Sheepstealer was there with Nettles. They were all there. You know, all the dragon seeds were there. Just the fact that, I mean, it's tragic that Jacaerys died, of course, but he died by convincing everybody to hold his mom hostage. Like, damn, that's that hurt. Like, you know, and then that, you know, the battle was kind of won, you know, even just with, Moon Dancer and Bela and him on Vermax, you know, alone. I mean, and then it was basically a naval battle. And that the only, like, thing that made him re-enter was Sheepstealer. And then, of course, Sheepstealer being ridden by, you know, Rhaena. I mean, I understand. I didn't like it, but now it's, you know, I understand, like, again, the connection, and it's, you know, plus the scenes are just epic. I mean, you can tell the budgeting, what they put into it. And then I believe the acting this season is phenomenal. Phenomenal. So that's the only reason my final thoughts on episodes 1 to 3. And I think these are probably my 2 most compelling stories. And I also kind of considering, like, now that allegiances are switching up a lot, you know, who's an ally? What does it mean to be an ally? You know, is, you know, the solid points of family. You know, like with the Greens, you look at it and you're like, okay, well, you know, like Aemon and Aegon are supposed to be on the same page. Uh-oh, no, they're not. You know, Darren, like, you know, are these brothers going to try to take each other out? Like, I don't know. Then we look at, you go to the Blacks and you're like, you know, Jacaerys, you know, ignores his mother's orders, gets his betrothed to ride off into battle, endangers his own life. I mean, you know, Rhaena doesn't listen to, you know, her queen commanded her to watch the children and the eggs, and that doesn't mean nothing now. Like, you know, I keep wondering, like, it's so many. Corlys, you know, that man has done everything in the world, you know, for this cause. He just got, I mean, some of it by his own making, but he definitely has lost everything, you know. And then now, like, some of the stuff, you know, that he's been saying and thinking, like, you know, is he distancing himself? Will he turn? I think his requests are right. It's just it's getting very emotional and very tied up. Any other final thoughts? Okay, I know this is a really long live stream, and I'm so glad anybody who joined. I'm keep checking my computer, and thank you for watching. Please replay this. If you're watching this on replay, please add into the comments, and I will try to do another one next weekend sometime, bring up some more topics. And if you haven't before, please tune in tomorrow night. Around 7 p.m. is when I do that. The Vampire Lestat. It'll be episode 6 live watch party, and we will watch that all together. So if you don't have AMC Plus and you just want to participate, you know, it's a good way to join. And if you do, you know, start together and watch along, and I would really appreciate it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. Have a really good night.